Charlie is a lonely, overweight English professor who suffers from heart failure and lives reclusively in his house. He has only 5 days left to live and seeks redemption with his loved ones before dying. Since society tends to be cruel to people like Charlie, he prefers not to be seen while giving his classes through video calls. He pretends that the camera is not working, and when he orders food delivery, he asks to leave the product at the door so he won't be seen. One day, Charlie experiences a strong pain in his chest and believes he is having a heart attack, just in time to save Charlie Thomas, a missionary from the New Life Church who goes from house to house preaching, arrives. Charlie asks him to read the essay because he wants it to be the last thing he hears before dying. While Thomas recites it, Charlie calms down. Suddenly, Liz, Charlie's best friend and caregiver, arrives, and upon learning that Thomas is from the New Life Church, she immediately kicks him out of the house. Liz has a personal issue with that church that will soon be revealed. She insists that he go to the hospital to seek medical help because, otherwise, he will die soon. However, Charlie tells her that he doesn't have the money to cover the expenses and prefers to die at home. Unbeknownst to Liz, Charlie actually has $120,000 saved. Charlie knows he is going to die, and before that happens, he wants to reconnect with his daughter, Eli, whom he hasn't seen in 9 years. It turns out that Charlie was married to Mary, and they had a daughter together. However, before his current situation, Charlie used to give in-person classes, and during one of them, he met Alan, one of his students. They spent time together and fell in love. Charlie made the decision to leave his family for Alan, and Eli was 8 years old when this happened. Therefore, Charlie looks for Eli and convinces her to visit him at his house without letting her mother know. When Eli arrives, she is quite cold and harsh. She tells him that she came only because she wants his help with an essay she has to submit since she is on the verge of failing high school. Charlie wants her to keep coming to visit him and finally manages to convince her by offering money. She has no friends and spends her time annoying everyone she encounters. She tells Charlie that she hates him, that he disgusts her, and that if he really loves her, as he claims, he should prove it by standing up and walking towards her without his walker. This infuriates Eli, and she angrily leaves the house. Liz discovers that Eli came to see Charlie and scolds him because she fears that this could hurt him, as his daughter is quite problematic. The missionary, Thomas, visits Charlie again, but Liz encounters him once more and angrily takes him outside the house to tell him why she hates the New Life Church. It turns out that Liz is Alan's adoptive sister, Alan being Charlie's partner. Their father was the leader of the New Life Church, so both of them were raised there with very strict rules, including total rejection of homosexuality. However, when Liz met Charlie, she decided to give herself a chance to build a life with him. When her father found out, he condemned Alan and separated him from his family and the church. The rejection was unbearable for Alan, and he fell into a deep depression that led to an eating disorder. Alan didn't eat for weeks and lost an extreme amount of weight until he finally took his own life by jumping off a bridge. This triggered depression in Charlie, who believes he could have done more to save Alan. And this emotional anguish led him to develop the opposite disorder, compulsive eating, which resulted in his current condition. Liz finishes telling Thomas, but he still believes that God put him there to bring his word to Charlie, so he returns and continues visiting Charlie. Charlie takes advantage of these meetings to repair the damage and reconnect with Eli. He makes an effort to convince her that he is a good person, but she tries hard to prove otherwise. She reproaches him for not making an effort to stay in touch with her. Then Charlie prepares a sandwich for Eli but adds sleeping pills to it. He wants her to fall asleep so he can smoke in peace. Thomas returns, and while Charlie is asleep, he suspects that he is hiding something. He pressures him to smoke, and Charlie gives in. Then he tells him that he investigated and discovered that the New Life Church no longer has door-to-door missionaries. Thomas feels cornered and confesses that he is an ex-addict and that he ran away from home after stealing money from the church. He now believes that if he saves Charlie, he can redeem himself. Secretly, Eli records the entire confession and sends it to Thomas's parents the next day. Thomas returns to see Charlie one last time and tells Eli what he did. Not angry, but grateful because his parents responded by reaching out to him and letting him know he was welcome back. Finally, Thomas tells Charlie that he understands everything now and that to save himself, he needs to free himself from his homosexuality. This angers Charlie, and he reveals that it was Thomas's church that caused his partner's death and his current condition. Charlie becomes disgusted with Thomas and leaves forever. And at that moment, Lizzie and Mary arrive. Charlie hadn't seen his ex-wife since their divorce. Liz reveals to Charlie that he has saved a lot of money and offered to give it to her. Liz didn't know about this and became angry with Charlie because he had assured her that he didn't have any money to seek medical help for her. Charlie was selfish because Liz had made many sacrifices to help him. After the argument, Liz leaves, and Mary and Charlie are left alone to remember moments from their lives, especially an afternoon at the beach they spent together. Mary reveals to Charlie that she didn't let him see their daughter all these years because she feared he would judge her as a bad mother due to his own shortcomings. She tells him that he is not a good person and treats others poorly. Mary tries to encourage Charlie to use his money to go to the hospital, but he tells her that he believes deep down he is a good person and that he saved the money strictly for his daughter to have a decent life. Tearfully, he tells her that it is the only good thing he has done in his life. Mary leaves the house, and so begins the beginning of the end. Charlie orders delivery, but this time the delivery person waits on the stairs because he is curious to see what Charlie looks like. Charlie opens the door to pick up the pizza, and the delivery person finally sees him, feeling disgusted, and leaves. The delivery person represents society, which judges and humiliates people like Charlie. After being seen, Charlie eats compulsively to relieve his emotional distress and sends an email to his students, asking them to ignore their assignments and instead send him a heartfelt written piece. This doesn't sit well with the university, so he is fired. Charlie has one last video call with his students. He knows he is dying and doesn't want to spend his last moments hiding. Charlie wanted honesty from others but was not being honest himself. So Charlie decides to practice what he preaches, turns on his camera and shows himself to his students for the first time. Some take pictures and others laugh. It is a fact that people will be cruel to someone like Charlie, but he still has faith in people. He ends the video conference by encouraging his students to be honest and always act with their hearts. Then he smashes the computer against the refrigerator. Liz knows that Charlie doesn't have much time left, and they have an emotional conversation, and finally she forgives him. After that, Eli appears very upset with him because Charlie changed her assignment to a piece on Moby Dick, and she failed. Charlie admits that he made a mistake and hurt others with his decisions. He would have liked to do things differently and has done everything possible to make up for it. But there is something missing before he goes, to convince Eli that there is love in her and that he wants to show her what he couldn't in their first meeting on the brink of death. Charlie asks Eli to read the essay on Moby Dick. It turns out that it was a piece she wrote as a child, and it was essential to Charlie because it was the only thing he had from her all these years. Tearfully, Eli begins reading the text, and Charlie tries to get up on his own and walk towards her. Eli, who had only shown her aggressive side until now, admires his father's will to walk. It's a great struggle for Charlie, but with effort he moves forward, and as he gets closer to Eli, his daughter shows him love, and Charlie finally dies. He ascends, illuminated, and returns to the last memory with his daughter where he was happy, that day on the beach. Charlie finally found redemption by repairing and obtaining forgiveness for all the mistakes he made. Hope you liked the video, subscribe for more content like this, and hit the like button to help us out. Also leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie.